This is for a general reading for Libra, Sun and Rising or Ascending. Okay, I'm going to do something here a little bit different than I have done for the others, because I was looking at some things before I started to go and recording this, and I'm gonna try something a little bit different here. Anyway, this is like I said, Libra, Sun, Rising and Ascending. So go also check out your Rising and Ascending readings as well, and what may be going on there in your how others might be perceiving things here. All right. With you. Remember, these are general. I do not have your charts. I don't know what your rising or ascending is. I do not know what your moon is. I do not know where your other placements are at. So these are all general, and they're subjective according to what's going on, what's showing here. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over into the astrology and give a quick look. I want to hurry up, try and get done with these astrology reports, but I'm having a hard time with YouTube as well processing the videos. They seem to be real slow getting them processed. So I'm sorry, I apologize for that, but it's out of my hands. So let's go ahead and jump over there and let's see. Also, I have a ticker tape here because of certain things that I'm using in the chart. I do not load the chart with all these extra things in there because there's no sense in it. I don't want to go through all of it, not for general readings. So there's only certain things that I use that are different, maybe somewhat different. One thing I use is different is you look at the nodes here. Let's see. Get this. Okay, good. This. All right. The nodes here that you see, the north and the south node. Whoops. That I use. And Lilith, this particular Lilith here is different than the Black Moon Lilith. And also I use the lots of fortune or the part of fortune. Okay. And what I have done is I have put in the definitions for these because I don't want to repeat myself all the time on them. But I will go over these before we actually go into the astrology, so you can see it, what they mean. I use the north and south mean nodes. These are nodes, are symbols of an individual's life path, your personal growth, karmic lessons that need to be learned. Remember, the south node is reference to K2, which is something about your past actions, because we don't know what your future actions are going to be, right? And then that north mean node is dealing with your future, where you need to be headed. Okay. Right now, you know, the south node, you got something with your actions right now, or something you need to release from the past, maybe some habits, maybe something in your actions, maybe there's things you need to learn, maybe you need to reevaluate your life path, and you need to learn those karmic lessons that will help you for personal growth, okay, for the future. And from what I'm seeing here with this of the sun and the north node conjunct with Chiron, is there's something here that you need to really pay attention to on yourself, because this area that is at these areas right now that have to deal with this first house. Well, crap. This first house, the second house, and the third house, if you looked at the astrology lesson that I or the introduction into astrology, you will see that these three houses deal with your life. The next over here deal with your family. This over here deals with relationships, and this area deals with your spirituality, or humanity, your outside life. And this is where the midheaven becomes very important, because the midheaven is about your outer life, your public life. And how sometimes this area can affect relationships, can affect, excuse me, or you're being affected by, in your life, by your actions in relationships in your outer life. You know, that could be just partnerships or friends or groups and stuff of this nature that are affecting you in some way. Okay. The next thing I want to show you here that I am using this different. I didn't include this one, but I'll go ahead and it's the definition of it. Is dealing with this. Dealing with Vesta, which is, I say, important for you because it's connected to the house of Libra, because you always seek in balance, things fair, justice. Leans a lot to go to that. But Vesta is about your aspirations and your plans and your goals. And it shows where you had this like spiritual devotion to a cause, a project, a person, or even a belief that's sacred to you. And you want balance in that. So I'm going to go into this because I do see some things already where that has to do with that Vista. You do have an aspect from Pluto and the moon conjunct together that's feeding this energy over there toward Vista, where these energies don't want to work together. It's showing a quincunx, which is also known as a inconjunct. Okay? An inconjunct, if it's conjunct, that means they're working together. If it's inconjunct, that means they're separated. They're pulled apart. So there's something here where there needs to be some sort of transformation that Pluto is going to take place, because these Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus are interpersonal planets that have an influence in your life in a long-term way. So with this and the moon, Pluto being conjunct, meaning that the moon is feeding off of that energy or grabbing energy from Pluto, or Pluto is affecting your emotions right now to make you trying to change something in your life that may have to do with your devotion. You know, that where you're dedicated to those aspiration plans and goals of what you want for the future, and it's that spiritual flame that maybe the old goals you had and plan just don't meet with where you are right now in life. So you got to maybe reevaluate it or transform something in your actions or something from the past that maybe you let go of, and maybe you don't want to let go of it anymore. Maybe it's working to change something. Maybe where there's working to heal something in partnerships, relationships. And you're going to be with Mercury retrograde now, which we'll talk about. It's going to be very important that you will go back over because it is retrograde. Okay? And as retrograde comes back to the degree of 15 degrees, you're going to be revisiting that time in your life. And I'll give you a date and everything on it, okay? And so you may be reevaluating relationships. Maybe you're going to have something here with a person or a project or a belief system that, you know, is changing. That's really sacred to you. Maybe you cast an old relationship out and now you want it back again. It's that simple, and you want to heal it. Or that the partner wants to heal things, wants to work at things, because the Chiron is in your 7th house. So either you're working on it and you're not opposed to it, but there is an opposition here. And oppositions is where it's kind of like a tug and pull. But it shows where with that Chiron in your 1st house, the house of self, the I am, It is talking about where there's a capacity for awareness here. So you have some sort of awareness of another person on the other side. Seventh house, partnership, marriage, could be even no open enemy in that area. Or there's something here with friends, individuality, your individuality in the relationship, contracts, partnerships, lower courts in the law, that people, friends may come to you and ask you this or that. And I wouldn't get too much into friends' businesses. Let them deal with it themselves. We all struggling right now. And that may be where the opposition is too. That you may be in opposition to help friends in some way because of what you are dealing with in your own life. When you got your platter full, you don't need extra people throwing crap on it. Their problems, their issues. Let them resolve their own situations. Let them take responsibilities for their actions and let them learn their lessons, right? Because we all got our own to learn. So it's not being mean, it's not being cruel or anything like that. But with time is changing, the world is changing. And it's not to mean that you can't help someone with something that may needs help. Let's say somebody's doing a project and they need you to come in and help them with maybe some skill or talent you have. That's one thing. But when people make choices in their lives, they've got to learn from those choices. If they get into bad relationships, don't run to your friends asking for help. And don't let your friends come in bringing their drama or chaos into your life. It's not worth it. It's not worth the headaches. But there's an opposition here. So there's something here where with the conjunction of the sun that a purpose here. You've got a purpose here for the future to heal something here with someone from maybe possibly the past, or they be trying to work with you, and you two trying to work things out or something that wasn't working before. And it's going through a resurrection or a regeneration, the relationship is, or it's going through something that is changing, it's transforming. And with this opposition of the South Node to it, this is where you're gaining that capacity to be aware and have some objectivity at it. Like, maybe the relationship wasn't that bad as I thought it was. So let's work at it. Let's see. Depending on who you're working with. Also, but it's going to bring in where you're going to consciously face something in the relationship here to where that sun is going to bring out an illumination. Because remember, the sun is an illumination. It brings something into the light. Or it's something that could be frustrating, maybe for the partner. Your past actions. Maybe there's some habits you need to get rid of. Here, we all could get rid of some habits and change things in our lives. The next thing that I have on here on the ticker thing, which I'll be, like I said, I'll do it this time, but I'm not doing it in the future. It takes too long. Is I'm going to talk about this Lilith. Let's scroll that up. Okay. I'm going to talk about this Lilith, which is different from the Black Moon. This is the mid-Lilith. This Lilith is connected to your inner shadow. Okay? And this is in your 12th house, house of karma, due to your past actions. But it's also an area where you put your foot down. You set boundaries to maybe friends or acquaintances or enemies that you know about, and you just set the boundaries up. And if have to be, don't express the anger at something, but you can. But it also relates to your authority, your sensuality, your sexuality, to openly resist or refuse to obey or to go with the grain of society. Be your own individual self. And this is where Pluto comes in and plays a big part to getting you to take control back over your life, what you desire for your goals, your futures, what you feel, because this is dealing with Pluto and Moon in the 5th house, which deals with love affairs and romantic attachments, self-expression, children as well, pleasure and play or speculation, but your house is ruled with Aquarius here. And what rules that house is Saturn, and Saturn is over in Pisces. Saturn has to deal with where you learn to operate within the limitations, or you have others, your limitations in society, and how you put those boundaries up too as well. And you put those restrictions and put the brakes on things. It's also dealing with responsibility and rules. This may be some lessons you need to learn, and you may fear it. You may have some fears about this, or there could be some obstructions and limitations. And this has to do with the father, the teacher, or some authority, where, a partner can even say, well, yeah, we can talk, but there's going to be something here where there may be some limits, or boundaries set, you and them. You negotiate some boundaries here. I'll do this, you do that, But I do want to throw some caution into this later with Mars and Saturn, because they're conjunct now, just as the Moon and Pluto is conjunct. Now remember, Pluto is known as Hades and can put you through hell, emotional hell, while this Moon is there, to get you to awaken, or shaking you with that Uranus energy, to maybe rebel against something as well, and not, like I said, not going with the grain of things. If it has an aspect over to it, and right now I'm not seeing it at this moment. But there's something here with the midheaven, that I will say right now that this has to deal with your outer life. And this is in that area of relationships, where you may be setting some bounds, some regulations, some rules, or you just not going to go along with everybody else. This could be where there's some rebellion. There's conjunction here. There's conjunction here. There's conjunction here. And there's conjunction here. But there is also, to everyone, almost every one of these conjunctions is an inconjunct. Now, isn't that strange? Even to the Venus and the Neptune that is conjunct at the same degrees. It could be something 28, Venus, you're ruled by Venus, that feminine energy within yourself, or a woman as well, because it is, it's 28 is like a grand cycle of the sun and the moon. We know we're going into a total eclipse, so there is this grand cycle that's going to be all these new beginnings with this total eclipse, a solar eclipse, and it's also woman. And I find this, really, really interesting in your chart, that something here, there is with this combined or conjunct energy of Neptune and Venus, which rules you, and there is a conjunction over to the ascending. That's telling me something in a courage or a strength or some energy here in that 11th house, where it could be with friends. Don't let them, I will say, do not let them do something here. And you notice this ascending right now. This is right now as I'm reading this, is April the 3rd at 3:53 in the afternoon. And where it's at right now is at Mars and Mars. And you need to keep other people out of your personal life, out of your family life. This is things we don't really put a lot out there. We would talk to real close friends, but we don't put a lot of it out there. And it's about a goal. And remember I said, this is an in conjunct. These two over here conjunct, but something about them being conjunct with, Neptune, it's about, what you believe, because the house of Pisces, I mean, the sign of Pisces is all about what you believe. And the sixth house deals with your health, your work, something changing in the service and willingness and devotion, improvement, self-analysis, discipline and habits that may have to be changed. Or that maybe this woman has changed. Maybe a woman from the past has changed if you're a male. Or it could be, a man, or it's causing you to change. Something in the family life or dramatic dynamics that are going on in your family could be causing this transformation within you. Because these energies don't get along. There's something here that doesn't get along. Maybe your friends don't get along with your family. Maybe your family doesn't like this particular person you're involved with. Tell them go live their own life. You love who you want to love. You be with who you want to be with. Do not let others choose things for you, or you will regret it the rest of your life. Follow me? So the next one, and this is where you really, with this mid Lilith, I don't use the black moon Lilith, because that's kind of got like secrets hidden behind things, darkened. It's not till it comes conjunct with the moon or the sun that something gets shown here in those inner shadows about yourself. So I like this a little bit better, because it shows me where you can be really dealing with some karma here, that you need to put your foot down and say, yeah, in my past, I used to might help a lot of people, but you know what? There's going to be a big change here, because you got trions here going over to that 8th house in relationships. There might be some changes going on in my public life that I'm not going to let it interfere in other relationships where I'm devoted to, where my interest is and where my goals are with maybe someone else that you're very more inclined to be attached to. And you don't want to let them create harm in this relationship or bring in some, because remember, we got that double comet coming through by the earth and by the sun. And it could be something where people, outside influences, try to break your relationship up in some way. Because with Saturn and Mars coming together and conjuncting together, the closer they get to one another and align, they become more malefic, meaning that they can create some harm. They can have a harmful intent. They can have some sort of harmful intent, or malign with some maleficence to align, people align together to do something here, which would be harmful or evil in their intent, or the effects of it would be evil in their intent. So, this is where you might start noticing some things here and say, no, this is going to change. You're going to start, I think you're going to really start rethinking things. Rethinking your involvement maybe with other people. And when, like I said, we'll talk about that as we go on. The last thing I want to discuss here before I move on to really the full reading here for you guys is I want to talk about this part of fortune, or lots of fortune. It's a point in the astrological chart that is calculated mathematically based on the positions of the sun, the moon, and the ascending. Now, what I'm seeing here, interesting. Because where the sun is at 14 degrees, the moon's at 6 degrees, it's almost at the point of where it could almost be a yod to the ascending. Meaning the finger of God is pointing something out, saying, this is coming up and you need to be aware of it. It's like the apex is dealing with, let me do something here. Let me show you. Do a lime green here. Let's take a line and let's go from where the sun is. Oh, that's supposed to be green. Okay. The sun over to the moon. Now they're going to come closer and closer. This moon's going to get closer and closer, and it may it may begin a yod, just to say. Now the next one that I said, the calculation aspects to this could create from the moon over to the ascending here, and from the sun, from the sun create this, which would be a yod, the finger of God. And so something is ascending, rising up, coming about, that you're going to have some strength and some courage. You're going to have to stand up to something here. And really look at this and say, this has to deal with your inner personal, with the sun, your inner personal, your inner drive, your energy, the source of your will, your free will, your self-motivation, a sense of confidence, strength, individuality, and creativity, as well as the moon. Because the moon is how you express your purpose in everyday activities through your emotions. So with this sextile here between the sun and the moon being, would get activated through your thoughts, your mental thoughts, which is Mercury, right? Communication, thoughts, ideals, and your beliefs as well, with dealing with your ruling planet being in Pisces, where there's something here may get activated, or you have to activate it. And like I said, it's your everyday activities through your emotions, your attitudes, your habits, your general mood, how you adapt to your environment. It could be, the moon usually deals with the mother, if your mother's still alive. Your mother could have some influence here with all this. So I kind of see that, and I don't know what your ascending is. So whatever your ascending may be, if you have a Leo ascending, if you're a Libra with a Leo ascending, this would be kind of important. But something is kind of coming up. Because remember, below the horizon here, this is what can't be seen by others. You don't want to show this out to others, your private life. And this is what can be seen as it's ascending and rising. Now, and so with the calculations between the sun and the moon and the ascending and where they are, you would figure out where your fortune may lie. Well, thank goodness with astrology software, we don't have to calculate that. Because what I'm seeing here at this point in time, the ascending would be at 21. After you calculate the sun and the moon and the ascending together, it would be at 21 degrees. Now, this is the part of fortune is like I said, after you do that calculation and having software, which I love my software. I've tried many different ones, but I love this one. It's called Zeus, Zeus. All right. I've been working with it since it was in beta while they were creating it, and I love this. But this, after this, all the calculations, it symbolizes the area of your life where one can find happiness, success, and the fulfillment with a sense of abundance is what this is about, and well-being. So keep in mind that in astrology, it's a belief system, and its interpretations by astrologers are subjective, because if they don't know what's in your birth chart, how do we know for sure? Because that's where this gets calculated in your birth chart, the sun, the moon, and the ascending, as to where there's the best happiness and fulfillment in your life and success. All right. So I did go over those. Now we're done with those. So if I'll just call them out as I go along now. So like I said, we have some conjunctions here. We have Jupiter conjunct with the midheaven. Like I said, your outer life, whatever's going on here, there is something here where it can expand and grow, but it maybe in a way where there's some radical change or unexpected change in the houses or the areas of relationship, by lessons that maybe where you dealing with karma from the past, because that's where that Lilith is sitting at, because Mercury being retrograde as well, and with Jupiter being, in the turn belt here, the constellation of Jupiter, it can be somewhere, it can be fulfilling, or I wouldn't say just go along with it. Maybe there's some things you need to say, I can't go the same way you're going. Maybe you're going against the grain and you find that very easy to do. I refuse to help you in some way. I refuse to obey your command, I know this happened recently with someone, where somebody wanted them to come and do something, and I'm like, why? It's their life. It's their, if people, like I said, it goes back to the same thing, like I said, when people choose to let people in their lives, they need to deal with them. Don't call your friends in. Don't call your families in. You need to learn the lessons of who you allow to enter into your life, your personal life. And if they're not of good character, don't let them in, period. And don't let them know things about your personal life. That's simple. And your family. If they're not, it's like I said, when the devil knocks on the door, you don't open it and let him in, right? Because you do, and guess what happens? You have nothing but hell in your life. So don't let the devils in your houses, all right, and in your family. You keep it away. So don't go along with something here. If you know it's not, it's problems, no, set your foot down. Say no. You handle it. You work out your own problems. I can't, because that's, whatever it is that somebody over here might be creating karma in your life, or trying to get you to get involved in something here, and you need to say no. I've done help people like that before, and it did nothing but get me in a lot of trouble. No. Take those lessons and learn them. Now, like I said, not only do we have Jupiter in conjunct with the midheaven that I just talked about, but we also have Jupiter conjunct with Uranus, which is rebellious. And look where it is. Over here, I have the event pool open and all the things that are going to be events that are happening this month. The estimated adjustment, remember this is the Eastern Standard Time, so you're going to have to adjust your time according to my time. I'm on the East Coast, so it's New York time or whatever, Eastern Coast time. So you'll need to adjust accordingly. Because all the times I have here are going to be Eastern Standard Time. Okay. All right. The first thing I want to go over here. Oh, I forgot. I always forget to go back to that. The first thing I have here is Mercury at 15 degrees, and on March the 18th at it was like 8:32 in the morning. Okay. Now, if you go back to that date when Mercury was at 15 degrees, you see a lot of opposition over here that was ascending coming up. This was something in your house of partnerships, marriage, relationship wise, where there was some sort of, with an opposition, it's like awareness of something here. And the aspects that it was showing on the 18th, which I believe it was on a Monday, because I'm looking at here. Duh. A lot of times with my astrology, if I see what ruling the day, then I know what day it is. The hour is Saturn. Okay. So Saturn was conjuncting with Venus at the time, which would have been your ruling planet. So there was something here that maybe was some sort of, you were putting the brakes on, or it was putting the brakes on you, but it was conjuncting with Venus. And the moon was in a trine with these two energies forming together. So I don't think anybody was trying to go, or you were trying to go against anybody. It just may have been some frustrations going on with you, because what we have, the aspects that was forming from this was three T squares that was dealing with Mercury over to the south node, and also the moon out to Mercury and the south node. Maybe, this area here in this 10th house had something to do with directions and goals, prestige and position. There could have been something here, especially where you weren't getting something here, some sort of fulfillment, because something was on your mind. Something was going on. You were going through some sort of trials and tribulations, but instead of maybe, because I remember what happened with me that day, you got frustrated. And you kind of lashed out at somebody that maybe you shouldn't have lashed out at them. But you're going to go back and address this, because why? Because Mercury is going to be, and you had a trapezoid, so you might have got yourself kind of caught up in something here with your attitude, because with Saturn in that trapezoid and your outer life in some way here with the midheaven, your fourth house, the house of home, family, and there was definitely a T-square in this area, for sure. Mentally, I don't think you was in the right mind. And you certainly didn't probably show any grace towards somebody. And you might have lashed out and kind of regret it. But then you kind of, got yourself in this, and later on maybe felt like, well, I shouldn't have done that. Maybe it was something interfering, something maybe with your home life interfering with, that outer life interfering with your home life. And it just brought in some stuff going on here. It activated something in communication or thoughts, or, you were kind of slowing things down, or you didn't, because there was the sextile from Saturn to Jupiter, and it was like it just got something activated here from Jupiter to Saturn. I'm sorry, but there was this sextile between the two, and you kind of maybe lashed out and really didn't mean to, but usually a lot of times, I gotta say, and there's some opposition. There was something going on in your outer life up here that was affecting you emotionally. because this was ascending, this was coming up early that morning. I remember in my life what happened. There was kind of some hell that was there. So, because of someone else's actions. So what I do? I left. I walked away. Sometimes that's the best thing you can do. If somebody's not agreeable and they want to be asinine, or they want to be uh, kind of short at you or something like that. There's an old saying: we only hurt the ones we love, or we only hurt the ones we love the most. We will be upset about something else with someone else, and we will take it out more so on that person we love. For some unknown reason, I don't know why. Maybe because when you love somebody, you look at them in a way where you take the good with the bad. And you might just say they're having a bad day. Or what is really the issue here that's bothering you? But it had to deal with Saturn at that time. And what did I say? Mars is not too far away from here. And maybe you just didn't have the capacity, or maybe it was something with emotion. Like I said, something going on that you were not happy about or fulfilled in, and you was feeling it. And you just kind of lashed out and kind of got yourself caught in something here. Maybe you misspoke. I know that day I was called a liar. So, I mean, what can I say? And that, I'm not. And this person should have known I'm not a liar. Got no reason to lie about anything. So, and I look at that. So now that Mercury, let me go back over here. Now that Mercury is going stationary and direct, okay, or stationary and retrograde, there's going to be a revisit to this, because guess what? On the 1st, Mercury did go stationary, and it began now. It's in the process of moving back to this 15 degrees. So it's headed right toward the sun at the time of this total lunar eclipse. And hopefully there can be a new beginning here. Things can be better, even though there's some sort of opposition, because look, the sun is in conjunct with Chiron. There's going to be something here. There's a purpose where there's an inner drive or an energy or something here, a sense of confidence, strength, the individuality, the creativity, or whatever of the other person that says, okay, we can heal this. I can let this go. I can be like a duck, let the water just roll off my back and let it go. We can start from here. And the sun in conjunct with the North Node, there's a purpose here, a direction for the future. If you want something with someone here, and it's about the future, then there's something in the past you need to work on with healing and making it right. And this, when this sun, and we'll talk about it in a bit, with this total eclipse, all this energy combined here, and then Mercury's going to be coming in the picture. Yes, and Chiron is linked to Virgo, which is also the ascending coming up. This Lilith connected to this. And me being a Virgo, yeah, better believe I put my foot down. You're not going to fuss at me if something's bothering you and upsetting you, that you can take it out on me. That's not right. You need to deal with whoever's doing it that's upset you. That's the way I look at things. God, it's gotten hot in here. But this was coming up. Should have been handled a lot more from the other person with a little, maybe they were going through something, but they should have handled it with grace instead of with some frustration to something here. So anyway, now there's no major aspects here that this is creating. All I know is I'm seeing Mars now coming in conjunct. Now with it, Venus coming in conjunct with Neptune, and then all this same energy conjunct together, meaning these energies are working together. for some kind of purpose, something where there's work being done in your sixth house, okay? The sixth house being about work, health, improvement, again, discipline, self-analysis, looking at oneself and saying, how can I work on me to make me more healthier? How can I improve myself? What can I change with being of service to being willingness to do something here to improve? So this is where you really take a good look at yourself and how can I heal myself? How can I change me? Goes back. If you got a common goal here, or you got a purpose or a goal here, I don't know what it may be, but I do know it's in this 10th house, and it could be, it could be about career, it could be about, your direction, your life path. I mean, we got Vista coming in here, and Vista is about that life path or karmic lessons to learn here. It's eternal flame that's going on here, and we've got the midheaven here too, so it's something dealing with your outer life that you need to work on. You need to work on these lessons. That you got to maybe stop doing something to somebody that's not doing anything to you. So let's go into the next one. We've got Venus. Today's the 3rd, like I said, April the 3rd. Now we got the nighttime. And this was something in the introduction to astrology. I don't think I showed it in there. But I said the day, this is on a Thursday, okay, April the 5th. And this is right 10 seconds after midnight. The day's being rolled by Jupiter. We see Jupiter here at 18 degrees, which is about you can either have a life or either live in some type of bondage here in relationships, struggles. Or you can live in the calamity of life that it throws at you. Or you can say, no, I'm going to put some boundaries down in my outer life, because this would be, where's the ascending? Now, what I said I wanted to do here, you can see I've got you here in your sign in the 1st house. But I'm going to change that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ascending in the 1st house. Okay? I just want to look and see what can't be seen down here, all right, in this area, because this is descending, all right? And there's something here that's going on that what can be seen is something about your past, in opposition to this 5th house. Love affairs, romantic attachments, children, or something of there, okay? And we see 15 and 15. This tells me there's something here where there could be something hidden. 10 being that of the law, sort of a moral law or a moral condition for the future. But 5 of that 10 or that 15, you got to handle it with grace. Because this sun is conjunct with Chiron. So you got to work on something healing here. And you got to recognize in your moral conduct of law, of how we act or interact with the outer public. I don't know how many of you would be doing something here 10 seconds after midnight. I mean, it is on a Thursday, but it is at night, and the moon, this has to deal with the moon. The moon is in your in the house of Aquarius, which I believe is your it's your 5th house. That has to maybe do with when it came across Pluto, that moon, something may have got initiated earlier that created, this is exact degree with almost exactly the degree of Pluto. It's going to come to the exact degree 55 minutes in. And it has something to do with the energies of Pluto and that eternal flame, that path, that goal, that something you aspire to here. And Pluto's saying, well, then you need to change things in your life. You need to put the effort in. You need to bear. Remember the water bearer. You need to communicate in some way or pour out the emotions you have. You need to be authentic in your purpose. Show some grace in your moral conduct. So even if it's children or, like I said, something in love, but this is usually, right now it's in the 5th house as it's descending, but this would normally be your 7th house. There's an opposition here, something about your purpose. The sun in that conjunction with Chiron. And the North Node, because the North Node is conjoined with the sun. So if you want something for the future, something very spiritual here in your houses of spirituality. So let me go back to your 1st house. This is what I had not done in the others, so y'all were getting the first glimpse of this. So there's something here that, yeah, you got to work on something of this goal. You know, what do you want, Libra? What is it you want? Be real. Be authentic. Activate it. Activate this energy and have the courage to say, hey, this is what I want. This is about what I believe. This is what my goals are, my wishes are, and this is what I'm going after. You've got to make it, you've got to activate it to make it work. And one of the things I'm seeing here is dealing with something where there's harmful attempts, harmful effects, your past actions. Stop doing those things. Go for growth and expansion and learning lessons. Rebel against something that is not right, something that you do possibly that creates stumbling blocks for you to achieve what you want. Now, look at this as well. In your 3rd house, which is all about communication, something's coming up, and it has to deal with Mercury, and Mercury's retrograde. So you're rethinking something here. You're reevaluating. You may be wanting to communicate something here. Might be pillow talk. Just saying. Maybe it's something about spirituality. I mean, I gotta say, 26 is God's name, Joshua. Are you listening if he's talking to you? Because I feel like he's going to be talking to you. He's bringing things to the surface. Things you need to heal. You need to have a conversation with God. Let's put it that way. Your creator, the divine. Maybe he's communicating with you, and I'm just wondering how many of us know when God's talking to us? Are we listening for his voice? Are we listening to hear him, what he's telling us? I know sometimes when he was talking to me, I didn't listen. 3 days, it just got louder and louder. It was the same thing every day. For 3 days until I said, okay, I'll do it. But it goes back to that thing of where he gave a person a duty to do, and the person didn't want to do it. Remember, one of them ended up being swallowed. He fell out of a boat. He tried to get away on a boat because he didn't want to do it, and then he jumped out, or the boat storm came, it knocked him out, or they threw him out of the boat because the guys on the boat thought he was Jonah in the whale. You know, they thought he was bringing all the bad luck on him because God gave him an instruction of something he was supposed to go do, and he didn't do it. He didn't want to do it. He wanted to escape from it. So then what happened? They threw him overboard, and when they threw him overboard, he got swallowed by a whale. And then all of a sudden, the whale took him up to the shore and let him out, and the water got calm. The whale let him release him upon the shore. He finally said, "Okay, God, I'm going to do what you told me to do." I wonder if that happened 3 days after he got the message. And he just didn't listen. And finally, he went into the town and he told them exactly what God said for you to do. Jonah, go to this town and tell them if they don't repent, I'm going to destroy it. And he didn't want to be the bearer of that kind of news. I mean, how would you feel having to go into a community and say, y'all better repent, if you don't, God's going to destroy this place? People would be laughing at you. He didn't want to be a laughing stock. But you know what? They listened to him. They listened and they changed. And the community was saved. The tribe was saved. Now, did he tell his story? What happened? I don't know. I don't remember reading anything in Scripture about it that he told them. But this is what happened. So maybe you need to put your foot down about something here of letting something in your outer life or your moral condition or your direction, your life goal, because this is about the life goal. You've got to have that. Remember I said the eternal flame. To keep it alive, you got to take some action. You got to do something here. And you got to have the courage. You got to be authentic. You got to be real. You got to be honest. And you've got to say what it is you feel. And you've got to let this person know, or whoever this is, or what's going on here, that you want to heal something and you want to move forward. And this is what you want. You want the same thing they want. And if you don't, you're gonna miss an opportunity in life, a wonderful, maybe fulfilling opportunity. Because look where the lot of fortune is sitting at. Look at the term. The term is Mercury. That is retrograde. And look where the decant is. It's Jupiter. There's growth and opportunity here to learn something. And to take control of your home, your family in some way. I mean, maybe not necessarily, but letting them know this is what I want. And you can either accept it or not. I don't care. But this is what, it's like me. I have a goal. I want to achieve it. I want to accomplish it. And if I don't fight for it and I don't have that flame to really go after it, it's going to go. The flame's going to go out. Then what? Then I've lost my dreams? No. Don't let anybody put that flame out in your dreams and your hopes and wishes. That's why a lot of people don't accomplish things they want to accomplish because of others. They allow it. Stop allowing it. Now we're going to move on, because there's no major aspects here. But we're going to move on now to April the 8th, where we now have that total eclipse happening. Another reminder I want to say here. Don't get out in this total eclipse. Because I remember when I did, in the last big one, that went right over my head, right over South Carolina, the state I live. I'm standing there and I'm looking up and I said, oh my God, this thing looks huge. It was the most scariest thing I ever saw in my life. And all I could feel was doom and gloom. So for the next 7 years, that's what I had in my life, doom and gloom. I had the awfulest, went through the awfulest hell in my life that I could ever say. I've been through some bad things in my life, but nothing compared to what lasted for 7 years. I'd never seen anything, and hope to God I'd never see anything like it again. But I'm going to tell you what, it was through my faith that got me through it. And that's what I'm giving for you guys here. Is through faith you can deal with something, and you can stand up to it. If you just listen to that voice that's trying to talk to you and recognize it. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're wondering if it's coming from God or whatever it's coming from, or whatever you call it, divine creation, I don't care. But I'm going to tell you, to me, it's coming from my Creator, my divine. And if you hear something 3 times, guess what? That's the spirit of Him in you talking to you. If it's telling you don't do something, if it's telling you do something, listen to it. Because tell you what, whatever He is telling you, or whatever that entity, that divine entity, is going to show you something in your life, a miracle. Because I've seen them. I've had them. And every time it happens, all I can do is look up and smile. And this is sort of my testament out there. And it's like with me, it's like, Lord, you glorify me so I can glorify you and what you do for me in my life. To say you are real. There's a stronger being than me. And it ain't coming in off no UFO. And it ain't coming in as no alien or a lizard or anything else, okay? I mean, a lot of people can knock someone on their face, but if you don't like the way I talk, or you don't like what I'm addressing here, or I'm showing you, there's a whole lot of other channels out there. You don't have to be here, but I would love for you to be here. I would love for you to experience miracles. I would love to hear your testimonies of what happens in your life. But this is a brand new beginning. And look at the moon. It's at 19 degrees. Look at the sun, 19 degrees. Look at the Chiron, 19 degrees. Look at the time. All of them, 24 minutes in. Look at Mercury at 24 degrees. Man. And what is that 24? What is that 19? 19 is royalty. God Himself is trying to show you something here. It's your pure, like gold, in your faith. It's a master time cycle. It's a cosmic cycle. It's healing. Chiron's right there. You're going to get such a healing like you would not believe. And also the number, the time. Remember I said master time cycle? Cosmic cycle? 24? What is that? Heavenly. God, government. The sun and the blood. Be ready to receive is all I can say. Don't resist it. I know I'm not. And look what house it's in. It's in the 7th house. Your relationship with the Father. I'm telling you, there's something evil here that's going to try and block your relationship with the Father. That is harmful, that has evil intent, or an evil effect. Don't let it happen. Fight it. Resist it. Denounce it. Like I said, you let the devil in your door. He comes knocking. You let him in. You got hell in your life. So what is it going to be? We still got this quincunx here, okay, with Vista. And it came exact. on April the 6th at 10:57. We're almost at 11 o'clock. It was exact. And remember, I've talked a lot about with Pluto. You know, it has an ancient association with Hades, the underworld. And I don't want to go there. That's not for me. I'd rather have the eternal flame burning like crazy up there in Vista with love and compassion. And look what the squares do. Venus. What is Venus? The capacity to love. And what does it connect with? Neptune, the undertow. It's a woman in union, because 4 is the gospel, good news, restoration, master time again, and a factor in angels, surrounded by the angels. Grand cycle, sun and the moon, woman, Neptune. The woman's capacity to love. What are you going to do? Now, if you're a female Libra, something's calling to you. You going to answer the call? Or are you going to ignore it? Or are you going to listen to something here that's going to stay? Look at this. The ascending and your lot of fortune, you're going to let something steal your happiness in the 11th house? Really? Change your human heart. Change your heart. This is a time for you to change your heart. What is 11? 11 is disorder, disintegration, things falling apart for the ungodly, judgment, chaos, last hour. It is the last hour. This is the time. Solar cycle. The sun. Guess what? 11 equals 22, right? 22 is about completing the cycle. It's gone through 11 years of cycle. The sun has gone through another 11 years of cycle. And 22. My understanding is, from what I understand of this, is that this should be really the peak of the sun, of a new beginning. And that cycle is now. With all the activity that's been coming off the sun, the solar flares, the sun spots, all this stuff going on, the overheating, all this stuff, this is the end of that cycle. It will, and it's going to be declining. So tell these climate control people to where to stick it. Because all they want is people's tax dollars. All they want is people's money, hard-working money. They want to fix it, let them throw all their money and wealth into it. But are they doing it? No. No. They'll ride around on a jet talking about it. Come on, people, wake up. Do you honestly think this world has been through so much before we even came here in its creation? And all of the stuff with earthquakes and volcanoes that have erupted and what has gone in the atmosphere. Really? And it's still standing? Duh. I'm just amazed by the way people think and what they try to influence people for a harmful and a deceptive and an evil way. They ought to be ashamed of themselves for what they're doing. They're not being authentic. They're liars. They want to steal. Use your own money if you want to do something about it. And I'm telling you, this has to do with that midheaven, as above, whatever's going on in the outer life, is trying to affect in your personal life. Do not let it, because all this for you is dealing with your relationship houses of your personal life. You can go for the conflict if that's what you want. If you want to stay in that, hey, be my guest. You want your friends, it's going to come a point we're going to look at people and they're going to look disfigured. They're going to look weird. They're going to be like, what is wrong with that person? You're going to realize you're in groups that you don't want to be in. You're going to stand there one day and you're going to look around and you will say, what the hell have I got myself into? Where is the door and let me out? Because this is going to be on a Monday and the hour, look at the hour, 7. Do you need any more hints here? 7th house, Mercury, retrograde, 24 degrees, time is 24. I don't know what else to tell you. This is such a no-brainer to me. Be a good student. Learn. Teach yourself. Do anything you've learned in life. Life is the best teacher in the world. Change your life. Change yourself. Activate the eternal flame, that spiritual flame that's within you. We all have it. Change your heart. If you've got a hard heart, whatever, just change it. You can do it. There's nothing stopping you but you. There's nothing stopping you but you. Don't let the flame go out. That's all. That's the big thing I can say here. Is don't let your eternal flame go out. Next thing we have the sun then ingresses into Taurus. Now remember, during this time while that solar eclipse happened, the sun is exalted. And now it is moving into Taurus, exalted. We have Venus in Aries. So she's ingressed into Aries. And she's in detriment. This is your ruling sign, your ruling earth, your ruler. And it's in your 7th house. And it's in opposition. And there's a lot of conjunctions with the North Node over to Chiron. There's a connection to Mercury retrograde. It's at 17 degrees. It can be some victory here. This 17 is about victory, and it can be so good. So good. Learn how to heal yourself. Learn the powers of healing. That's what we need to be doing. And look at that node. It's at 15. Exactly where this is going to be. It's about your future. Turning it around. And the aspect that we have going on with this is a T-square. Has an aspect of the ascending. The ascending, where it's at right now, something here about communication, something here about learning, something being illuminated. Then that term belt of Saturn, it's just entering it. And Mars is going to be moving forward, and it's going to disconnect with the conjunction of using that energy of Saturn trying to do something here. You need to move away from it, run from it, whatever it is. But this is a higher education, a higher mind, the growth of the mind, the experience of spirituality in relationships. And look, And Jupiter and Uranus, 21 degrees. Something here is ending. It's almost completed. Whatever is the shakeup's been is almost done. Because remember, Uranus is that shaker that will shake us all the way in our foundation, in our family, and in our life to wake us up. And 21 is the number of something in nature, something in history, and something in prophecy. And when you multiply 7, this is a double portion. Double with Jupiter and double with Uranus. Because they're both at 21. Wow. And I just noticed that. Because if you take those 3 of nature and history and prophecy and you multiply those 3 sevens together, what do you get? 21. What is 21? 21 is about people's rights and privileges. 7 is also means the number for perfection or completeness. Remember the world card in tarot? I know y'all want me to get to the tarot. I get it. I understand it. But tarot is not your life, but this is right here in the cosmic. This is your life. From the time of that snapshot of you first being born, is telling you something here. Right here is the snapshot. That something in history, nature, and prophecy is completed. The cycle is about ready to end. And I'm going to show you something here that it is ending. Because what comes right after this is that full moon in Scorpio. And we've got a grand cross here. Boy, but that's a cross of squares. 5 of them. That has to do with the sun, fixed sign. Has to do with Scorpio, fixed sign. Remember all those past, we were having a lot of Scorpio and Taurus, where there was sort of the issues that just nothing seemed to be gained here that we went through. You know, we'd have a moon in Taurus, and we'd have one in Scorpio, and then the sun would be there, and then the sun would be over here, and it's like, Jesus, you know, the lunar eclipses and all those things that were going on. Remember? Everybody was talking about it. All the challenges, all the struggles, all these T-squares going on. You can see them right here. Every one of them had to do with fixed signs, habits, creatures of habit. And I emphasize on the word creature of habit. What is evil? It's a creature. Nothing good of it. But there's a grand cross here. With Taurus, Scorpio, full moon being there in it, it ascending. Pluto, midheaven. I don't want to go to Hades. Do you want to go to hell? Do you want to live in hell for the next 7 years or so? Or the next 20 years? Because how long is Pluto going to be in Aquarius? Not that long. Do you want to live in hell for the next 20 years? Because that's when the next total eclipse is going to come along across the United States. Or wherever it may be that it does. But it's like now. You take your choice. You can choose life or you can choose bondage and calamity. It's up to you. Or you can activate this energy of your goals and your wishes. You can activate this thing of change and expansion and growth and higher learning. You can go through this emotional fulfillment also of lighting that eternal flame, that spiritual flame within you. It's up to you. It's up to you. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is when Mercury goes stationary and direct. And I want to point out something really important here. Mercury goes stationary on the 25th. But look at Uranus. Look at Jupiter. Is completeness. What is completeness? What is 22? 22 is the end times. Cycle complete. When I'm not saying the world's ending, what I'm saying is the structure of things are changing, and what was is no more. It's time for man to change. What was is no longer. Remember, we had the 21 with these two? And now is something that has ended because the cycle is now over. The cycle is complete. Structure in worship. Also, man's anatomy. Men need to change. Men need to become men again. Fathers need to teach their sons how to be men again. And women, quit kicking your father in the groins. These children's fathers in the groins. Quit castrating them. So women, if you're not finding husbands, then it's your fault. Because what I'm seeing right here is we got the mystic triangle here. We got one here. And when I did my research on the mystic triangle, it's something mystical. It seems like magic, but it's not magic. Because you know what? It's connected to Lucifer's rectangle. Evil trying to change the anatomy of man. Evil wants domination. It always has, always will. What do they used to always say? What's the root of evil? Money. Possessions. And I'm not saying going out there and get rid of things, but why not live a more simpler life? As long as you've got food on your table and clothes on your back and a roof over your head, maybe it's not the best. Maybe it's not the mansion. But your mansion wasn't meant to be here in this world. Do not be of this world. You're on this earth, but you're not of it. You weren't created from the earth. You were created through the divine. You were created by two beings coming together. So, I don't know what to tell you. You can struggle with life. I choose not to. Just the way I am. But I can see right now with this Mercury going direct at 15 degrees, it's time for whatever that struggle was. Whatever it was. And that, with 15 degrees, something that happened around between the 16th and came out and bloomed on the 18th. But there's something hidden here. Something, there's grace in the law. Hidden in the law is grace. And this is about marriage. This is about love. This is about the male and the female. Women need to change their hearts too. I'm going to tell you that right now. You going around bobbing your heads like you know it all, and you ain't got no job. You ain't going to be with me. Well, you want him to have a job? Then support him in getting a job. Stand behind the man. Encouragement. Instead of trying to castrate. Instead of you going out there, you have a job, and you'd rather go get your hair done, and you'd rather go get your nails done. Well, I'm glad those nails and that hair and all that other stuff is supporting you, or doing something for you, is putting food on the table. Why can't you be happy with who you are? and be authentic instead of a phony and a fake. Instead of bobbing that head around like one of those little bobble things that you used to put on the dash of a car, and it just sits there as you're going down the road, and it's just wobbling his head every which way. I've never seen people of authority acting with such disgust in all my life. I don't want anybody saying, well, I talk for this and I talk for that. You don't talk for me. I know I got a mouth. I know how to do things for myself. I mean, yeah, maybe maybe this is my time at the pulpit. I don't know, but I see this world. It really needs to change, and people need to change. They need to wake up. This is about right or wrong. This is about good and evil. When people are walking down the street, men are walking down the street and punching women in the face for no reason, or they're attacking the elderly for no reason whatsoever. Are you sick? Are you attacking children for no reason and harming them? You're sick. Period. Mm-mm. I'm sorry, but it's the world's gone crazy. It's absolutely has gone crazy, and there's a lot of astrologers talking about, people have lost their minds. Now we got Venus entering into Taurus here, where in this case it's coming in at a detriment, but here it was exalted. Here it was in detriment because why? It's in opposition of the house it rules. Here it's exalted. But when a planet is exalted, it's where its energy is the purest in exaltation, the purest form of love. Then it goes into this detriment. So Libras, please, please, I beg of you, be kind, show grace, show patience. Because somewhere along the way, there you are loved. Whether you believe it or not, you are loved. And now this energy is exalted. The moon being here in Capricorn is at a detriment because it's opposite the house that it rules. So when it's in detriment, it's weak, it's repressed, it's negative. Work on your relationships, Libra, but good relationships. Because Pluto is going to start going retrograde on May the 2nd. It's going to come back into Capricorn at 29 degrees, where it will finish whatever needs to be finished. And something here will depart. You should let it go, whatever it is. Get it out of your head. Whatever's done has been done. Can't change it. Search for the salvation. Forgive yourself and forgive others. And if you ask for forgiveness and they won't forgive you, then that's on them. They'll never know what forgiveness is, what it really means. And the aspect that we have going on with this, yes, there's a T-square there. To the moon. And this is what's ascending. That's what's coming up on the horizon. Your 8th house. What you share in relationship with someone else. Hopefully you're learning something here. Hopefully you're learning about keeping that flame lit. And I love this because Vista right here is where it's at. It's all Venus. All Venus. Because Venus is going to be exalted. And this moon is squaring the South Node and Mercury, with Mercury being in opposition to the South Node. I got a feeling some of y'all may realize something here, that something is not causing you too much. But this energy of this quincunx, you know what I said, something about when things are conjunct, as is Mercury and Chiron in the North Node is, they're working together for the future. There's something of healing, thinking, processing, reconstructing, all these things. And now it's moving forward. You're thinking of the future. You know you're going to go back into this place all the way to that 27 degrees where, you know, this is where you're either going to grab the hand of the divine or you're going to leave it. It's up to you. Because look at the date. April the 29th. What did I say? Pluto would be going into Capricorn, and it will sit there at 29 degrees. I'd rather be walking in that glorious path, in that eternal flame, and that light, going toward that light in the future. I would rather go there than into any darkness. Fulfilling my wishes, my dreams, my goals. That's what we're supposed to achieve here in this life. Why you think some people's got it and some don't? It's a mind thing. It's where you set your mind. It's where they have an internal flame within them, and they're going to not let nobody blow it out or steal it from them. Don't let anybody steal your flame. Next thing we have here, the last thing we have is we have Mars that is going to enter its house or its sign of rulership, your 7th house, on April the 30th. And this is where, with this, is a lot has to do that we will start to either some dedication. Some people might start a ministry. It's a price of redemption, what was paid, and the lunar month. And look at Mars at 0 degrees, and look at that month, 0 degrees. Kind of looks like a reset, doesn't it? It's the lunar months coming, lunar cycles coming. I just told y'all it's all a new beginning. With that total eclipse, it's all a new beginning, a new dawn, new age. You can either embrace it or not. It's up to you. Nobody can make you. So anyway, if you would, subscribers, my regular subscribers, if you give a thumbs up to the video and maybe share the link to others, newcomers, welcome. Please consider joining this channel by checking the subscribe button. Make sure you check all, or how you want to be notified, or whatever you want in there. Make sure that, you know, sometimes YouTube goes in there and kind of eliminates the, you know, you're not subscribed to the channel anymore and you're wondering what happened. Maybe you need, and then all of a sudden you're there and you're subscribed. You need to make sure when you click on the subscribe, or for notifications, you click the bell. Look at the bell. If you're having trouble getting notifications, which somebody just noticed, told me this morning, they had trouble getting the notifications. They weren't getting them. Go back and check. Click on the bell after you subscribe and see if you've checked all notifications from this channel. Are you getting them? You might, you got to be careful sometimes, because usually when they make upgrades, they make things different, changes something in with their system. It knocks everything else out of whack. And this is with Mars moving now into Aries. Today is the day of Mars. Be on a Tuesday. The hour is the 5th hour, and the moon is ruling it. Okay, that's what I have for y'all. And also, one other note I want to make: Pluto is in Neptune, and it rules Neptune, or it rules Pisces. Neptune is in Pisces, and it's its rulership. Mars is moving into Aries, and it will be in its rulership, the sign it rules. Venus will be in Taurus, where it will rule in Taurus. So this is going to be really, really interesting. So not only will she be in her rulership, but she will also be exalted. And then we have 2 days and 2 hours left before Pluto goes retrograde. And that will be on May the 2nd. And that'll be a whole new thing. So I want to thank y'all. Also, if you would, like I said, subscribe to the channel. If and this is a way you can help and give that helping hand to support for the channel. That's all I ask for. Is to subscribe, click the notification bells, and support the channel in that way. Also, you'll notice at the end of the video here, if you want to get that introduction to astrology, click that link. If you got any questions in that, put them in that description area down below. For that you want to have questions to ask in there, and I'll go back in there and answer. All right, y'all take care. I got to go. I will see y'all later. Bye for now.